Welcome. I am Dr. Dan Kalish. You are entering into a whole new world of functional medicine. We have a pretty exciting opportunity for you here to spend the next year of your life learning how to interpret these labs. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I talk a little bit about the training program, and then we can go around and do a little introduction so everybody knows who's in the group for a moment. And let me start with sharing here. Let's see. There, that should pop up on your screen now. Okay, so orientation time. This is the only time that this group will meet on Mondays. From now on, you guys are going to split out into the different times that you picked, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday. Morning and Tuesday morning or afternoon, and then Wednesday we have a morning class. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and the mentorship program, just a brief overview of the content and the resources, and then talk about ordering and logistics and all that good stuff, and a few other things here just to kind of get you guys grounded in what we're actually doing. So I am Dan Kalish. I've been teaching this class since 2006. I've been in practice since 1992. Which adds up if you want to count the years there. I started my career the year that functional medicine was coined as a term. That's how old I am. And in 2006, I thought, you know what? We should start teaching this stuff online. What the heck? And so we've been doing that ever since then. We've got over 1,000 graduates now of this training program. And I've learned a lot over these years about how to make this an effective program for you guys. Constantly we're updating it. Every year it gets better, but it's been since 2006, so it's pretty well designed at this point, I think. And the goal is really to have successful functional medicine practices. So at the end of this, you are in a leadership position in terms of lab interpretation skills. And our graduates go on to get jobs at Cleveland Clinic. Nate Bergman was the first doctor they hired at Cleveland Clinic. He graduated from the mentorship in June and went to the Cleveland Clinic in July of the same year. And now as the field is expanding and we're getting more and more practitioners in, there's a really major crisis with the lack of interpretation skills for the tests. You will never regret spending a year of your life devoted to doing this, because all of a sudden you're going to be the best person at interpreting these labs in your community. And then you can go on and learn more, but a lot of people just don't take that time. So I commend you for doing it. At the end of the year, you should be able to integrate a hormone, GI, and metabolomics test and move all the parts around and be able to handle all kinds of cases with all this different information that you find on the labs. I think of this as a lab interpretation class because that's really what I enjoy. But when I talk to the people who finish the class, there's a lot of people that are graduating right now that have just finished their year. A lot of them, what they get out of it is learning from their peers and learning patient management skills and just how the practice runs and getting kind of the feel for how this works. So I think a lot of that comes across in the live calls as well. As you go through these weekly Q&A calls, it just sort of starts to sink in, the practical aspects of running a practice and the things that you do when patients get sick when they take a supplement, and things that you do when programs don't work, maybe as important as designing a program is how to do all the problem solving. And so the way that the mentorship program rolls out is there's a whole section that we call like the lecture hall, and there's a pre-recorded videos that you can listen to, and they're organized in a linear fashion, module 1, then module 2, then module 3, and so on. And then we also have the live weekly calls where we're reviewing tests, and the live weekly calls are it's a combination of people that have been in the class for 6 months, people that are just starting, it's all mixed up. And that ends up being that in the first month or two, when you're still, starting to submit your labs and getting going, you get to hear all the cases from the more advanced students. And then when you get to the end of the year, you get to see the beginning students come in and submitting their labs, and you get like a refresher course. And everybody says the same thing. It's just practice, practice, practice is repeated, repetitive exposure, especially to organic acids. And then at one point, it just clicks in your brain, you get it, you can see the cell physiology moving around, and then you become a really kind of expert level functional medicine practitioner. So A lot of people stick around for more than a year. We have a membership model where after you've done your first year, you can stick around if you want to keep reviewing labs. Probably 3/4 of the people stay for an extra 6 months or a year. So there's no deadline here. You don't have to you're not going to get kicked out of class after a year. In fact, we welcome people sticking around and doing the membership to just kind of get a little more solid with the overall view of the class. In the first month or two, it's a little overwhelming because you're going to be on a live call with people that have been doing this for a while. But if you just go with the flow, take a deep breath, maybe get some Chardonnay out or whatever you need to relax a little bit, you'll realize after a month or two that you'll be like, wait a minute, those 3 adrenal panels we did last week, there's another one of them this week. And it starts to start to acquire the knowledge, like you would acquire a language if you ever learned a second language. It's like this is like an immersion class in lab interpretation and patient communication skills. And so you'll be a little overwhelmed for that first month or two, but then you get into the groove of this and the knowledge just like starts to stack up. So again, integration of the live calls, which are a little overwhelming, and then the lecture information. So I've been doing functional medicine since 1992. I've been teaching since 2006. I've really devoted most of my life at this point to building successful functional medicine practices. That's always really been the goal. And throughout the constant feedback of practitioners and seeing what do you guys actually need to know, I've structured the live Q&A calls. So I'll just explain how it works because it's a little confusing. If someone presents a case that I know you're going to see every day in your practice, and they ask a question on that case that I know you're going to have to answer every day in your practice, I will spend a long time answering that question because it's going to be something you're going to see every day in your practice. If someone submits a case that I've never seen before, and I know that you're going to see rarely, and they ask a question that's kind of obscure, I'll answer that question and then move on. So what ends up happening over the year is through the hundreds of cases that we're going to review, I'm going to curate them and explain the parts that I know you're going to see on a regular basis, which is why this works so well, because the cases that you all are submitting are really just the excuse to have these different discussions. But I found that clinicians just remember things 3 or 4 times easier if there's a context for them. They remember the patient and the situation, and it sticks in your brain much more easily than if you just learned it, from a conceptual standpoint. So there's a method to the madness that really works, and I think it accelerates the learning process quite dramatically in terms of how you can actually retain these things. For sure, you don't want to, you want to start ordering labs now. So, get a Rupa account set up if you don't have one, get a full script account set up for supplements, get all the kind of nuts and bolts stuff going in the next few weeks. And that's all described in our orientation section. So you go through the orientation, we've got a little thing like how to set up a Rupa account and why you should do that, how to set up a full script account, which labs would we suggest you start ordering. So it's all listed out quite clearly in that information. It should be easy for you guys to figure that out. And then we have these different reflections and quizzes and exams. Again, that's all baked into the curriculum. You just kind of go through that. I've had practitioners go through the entire year-long curriculum in a matter of like 2 months. Most people that have a family, kids, and are busy at work, it's designed to be a year-long program, but you can certainly go through it really quickly and then come back and re-listen to the parts that are of interest. Patients don't roll out in a linear fashion. So you're gonna have a case in the first month of your practice that may be in the 7th month of the material. So you get access to the entire year material when you first sign up. So if you get a case and it's all about pyruvate dehydrogenase complex and lipoic acid or something like that, you can go right to that section of the class, listen to those videos and get up to speed on that. And a lot of what we do in the live Q&A calls is just learning how to navigate the curriculum so you can study this stuff appropriately, okay? And then you get certified, you get an exam at the end, once you've done all the lectures and whatnot. But again, it's 3 different components: the lectures, the live Q&A, and then the online community. So the lectures are designed to go at your own pace. Most people end up listening to the ones that are of interest a couple of times. We also have a resource library. So the resource library is super important. You have access to that already. And in that, we have the live calls that are all recorded. Everything's posted there if you ever want to find one. We have a ton of extra information there, everything you need to get your practice started. There's these quick fix videos that go through all the protocols. All the protocols are in the resource library, so you don't have to hunt around throughout the curriculum to find things. The resource library is kind of like your central repository for the bulk of information that you may want to refer to. So we poke around and look at that for an hour or two. There's a ton of information in there that's not part of the regular curriculum. And then there's a Facebook group. If you're a Facebook kind of person, you want to interact with other students, welcome to join that. And for the weekly calls, some of you may be ready already to submit labs. If you have some tests, adrenal, GI, female hormones, we've got a whole list of the tests that we're trying to focus on for this particular course. And you just have to upload them with a little patient history. And there's a whole video that describes how to do that. So that should be pretty easy. And yeah, it's pretty self-evident. If you just listen to the instructional videos, you'll have everything that you need there. And if you get really confused, you can email the staff. And then we even have these links to labs that we use in the class, so you have easy access to all the things. We primarily work with Genova, Doctors Data, and DSL Lab. You know, if there are other companies that you have, you can run it by me and see. It gets confusing if you use too many different formats, too many different companies. So I try to limit that just so it's easier to learn this stuff, you know. And then I talked about all this already. Oh, you can't believe I have to say this, but I do. When you submit a lab, you gotta black out or white out the name of the patient and their accession number just for HIPAA compliance. So just make sure you do that. If you forget, I can't really review it in front of the group because everything's being recorded. So just be careful about following the rules. And we have instructions and all this stuff. If you just listen to the instructions, it should be pretty easy. And then your course materials are all tucked away in there, okay? The resource library and the mentorship materials all together there. Let's see, most of you have probably picked a time already, but if you haven't, we have 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Tuesday, that's Pacific time, and we have 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. Those are the available times if you still haven't picked a time yet. And that would be the time that you would submit your your labs for live review, okay? All the calls are recorded. All the calls are recorded and then posted in the resource section. And you can go back and listen to the last many months of calls. There's hundreds of calls posted there with thousands of cases. If you have the time and energy to look through them, it's a really great resource. And even if you just did like one extra call a week, that'll double up on your exposure to, you know, lab tests and increase your ability to learn this work quickly, you know. That's all in the resource library. Oh, and then we have an advanced clinical rounds call. That's for mentorship graduates, which some of you may want to join a year from now. We post those calls live too. So you guys can listen to the advanced group calls if you want. I mean, we've had some really interesting discussions in the last couple of weeks about mold. We had like 2 hours on mold. We had another hour about heavy metals. So that's all posted. That's the Tuesday 8 a.m. call. That's the advanced group. We recommend that you wait until after the year to join that group, but their, you know, calls are posted and it's no charge for that. You can just listen to them as much as you want if you want to get a sense of the more advanced stuff. In general, if you don't get our emails, there's usually a spam folder problem. So usually in the beginning, everybody has 1 or 2 technical issues they need to sort out. But we have all these things answered in the orientation talks. So hopefully if you just step through those, you should be in good shape and be able to get on and figure out how to unmute yourself and all that good stuff, okay? So in general, you're going to pick this one time that you submit your labs to, but all the other classes are recorded and you can listen to, you know, a day or 2 later. And we'll give you instructions and links for the lab submission form. And that is specific to your time. So you don't want to submit lab tests to the wrong time because then it won't be in your group. But again, that's pretty self-explanatory if you're just kind of tracking things carefully. But once in a while, people get a little tripped up by that. And make sure that you redact them fully. And again, this is all in the video. Just delete any sensitive information so we can post them. And if you have questions, you can reach out to training@kalishinstitute.com. Now, let's take a look here at all of you. I'm going to go around and unmute you. And if you just let us know a little bit about your practice, just like literally a minute about why you're here, and what I think, when I talk to doctors, I think everyone's kind of trying to solve a problem. So maybe just let us know what's your goal to get out of this? What is the problem you're trying to solve so I can make sure that we address that? And let's see if we can start with Christina, who I just spoke with a few minutes ago, actually. Let us grab Christina again. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So what's the one problem that you're trying to solve by taking this class?
I think I've been in practice a while, but I've noticed patients are having a harder time. And they don't have, I'm a hands-on cranial osteopath, and they don't have enough physiologic drive to make the treatment changes that they need to make. And so I think the problem for me is how to bring their system to a balance, how to help support their system so that it can function in a better way so that they can actually manifest.
Yeah, I would describe we do the adrenal panels for stress, right? We do the GI to fix the microbiome. But when you get into the metabolomics and organic acids testing, you're looking at cell physiology of that patient in real time. You're looking at beta oxidation. You're looking at how glucose is being handled. You're seeing oxidative stress. You're looking at detoxification pathways, every nutrient level that you can imagine. And when you get to, this is the hardest thing to learn, but the second 6 months of the class focuses on organic acids, basically. When you really master that, you can see what's going on with that individual cells and fix it. And it's pretty profound. I was talking to one of the graduates a few hours ago. It's like a magic trick. It's like having a magic wand that you could go cell repair, like fix yourself. But you know exactly why. You know that it's a glucuronidation pathway that needs to get fixed versus a beta oxidation problem with carnitine. And so the treatments are entirely kind of laser focused, but really the goal is to just normalize cell physiology. And I think you and I were talking about this earlier today too, right? That ever since COVID, with long COVID, there's been a really big step back for everybody in terms of inflammation and whatnot. And part of this class is really learning how to fix all that stuff.
Cool.
So welcome. And let's see, let's grab Jose here. Jose, are you there?
Hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so probably older than you. I'm 60.
Oh, I'm 60 July 23rd, so we're pretty
Uh,
close.
so I'm 60. Anyways, I'm a vascular surgeon here in Miami. So conventional guy, and last few years just we've added kind of a, hormone replacement therapy and some other things to the practice so I can kind of slowly transition out of surgery to something I can do, hopefully in my later years. If I could be a healthy 80-year-old guy still treating patients non-surgically, I'd like that. And I've done some IFM courses and didn't get much out of it. So what I'm looking for here is exactly interpreting the labs and setting up, actual protocols for patients. All the foundational knowledge I think we're okay with from our training, but I did these IFM courses. I just didn't really learn anything on how to interpret labs and set up a program for people. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, and this, you know, it's hard to really kind of explain this, but there's not a lot of people that have really tried to teach lab interpretation as a thing, and it's hard to find this kind of a program. Once you've learned the fundamentals and you're kind of on board with functional medicine, the actual practical application part, in the old days, in the 90s, it took place just one-on-one. You would just go to it, you'd fly somewhere. I flew to San Diego and I moved there and I just, worked with Dr. Timmons one-on-one. And I'm really trying to mimic that experience of what it's like to just have the senior practitioner in your office and you're like, hey, let's look at a case together. Let's talk about this. Okay, then you go do it. And I think we've been able to do an online version of that pretty successfully, so that by the end of this year, you should feel super comfortable with the labs and you should have seen a ton of successful cases go by, and a bunch of failures too, in the problem solving part too, that all should be, something that gives you the confidence to go out and start to do this. That's really the goal. So, welcome. All right, let's grab Frankie. Frankie, hello.
Yes, hi everybody. I am a PA, long time practicing since 2000. Live in Wisconsin. I work for Mayo Clinic Health System in endocrinology, but prior to this past 6 years, I've mainly worked in primary care, internal medicine. And I have, though, at the root of my training and life in early childhood, been a real fan and passionate lover of integrative medicine, and just have not had a way to move into that. So I've integrated little bits and pieces, did American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and then also finished the IFM training and certification last year. So I've got the theoretical background, and now I'm really looking for the practical application, the how to write, down into the detail of protocols and interpretation is really, I think the IFM program is wonderful, but it's very big and very overarching, and you come away thinking, what on earth just happened? And where do I even begin to start? And then my second goal is really and truly personally to move away from corporate conventional medicine and hope to really reconnect with my original passion of integrative medicine and smaller scale practice.
So do you want to do functional medicine at Mayo, or you want to do it on your leave Mayo eventually and do it on your own?
Good question. I'm part of the Integrative Medicine Specialty Council, which is Mayo Clinic wide. However, we here in Wisconsin, the Mayo Health System, do not have a very open-minded set of administrators. So it's done very, very openly at Arizona, Florida, and Rochester.
Yeah.
We've tried with several of my colleagues for a year or more, and we're running into roadblocks. So it's not that I wouldn't use it at Mayo, but it's just not the right place. They're not open to it. So it would be elsewhere.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the class. And we had like 10 or 12 years ago, maybe longer now. Maybe it was Brent Bauer, who's the head of Mayo's integrated medicine in Rochester, and Larry Bergstrom, who started the Arizona Mayo. They were both in this course. Larry took it twice. He's the only doctor that ever took this class twice. And so anyways, we have a long history working with Mayo Clinic. And as you said, I think in those centers in Arizona and in Minnesota, there's a lot of support, but I'm sorry to hear that it hasn't really spread to where you are. All right, well, that's good. So let's grab Anla. Anla, can you hear me there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, so I'm from Canada. I have never heard of functional medicine. This is my first experience to learn about there is something called functional medicine. My background is I have practiced as a family medicine in Pakistan and in Middle East, and I work in a hospital medicine in Canada. So currently I am actually doing some non-clinical work, which is more like a project management, but this was something intriguing I come across learning from Dr. Dan. So I'm interested to know what this functional medicine is all about. So I'm just here to learn from you guys.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. And let's grab Dr. Danny. Can you hear me there?
Yep, we're good.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
So I'm a chiropractor. I treat still in the office, soft tissue exclusively, but just through my own issues and then patients' metabolic issues that were keeping them from getting healed. Dove into a lot of this stuff on my own. And then I just saw so many tragedies happening out in the world that I'm like, okay, I'll start helping other people in this realm. And now I actually enjoy that more than in office stuff. So I started out with a lot of lifestyle stuff and then was becoming limited there. So I dove into GI map for the past 2 years and have been doing a lot of good stuff with that. But then I did your adrenal boot camp. So I've been doing adrenal testing for probably like the last year, and things are going good, but I just feel scattered everywhere. And I feel like I could tell people 50 things I need to do, but I'm trying to figure out what the 5 things I need to do first are. And I guess that's kind of where I'm getting stuck, is that I know a ton of things they could be doing, but I don't know what to selectively choose to help them. And then it kind of becomes overwhelming. So I'm
Yeah.
in that, I'm right. And that's where I'm kind of like in this stuck stage where I really want to do more with this. But when I was doing a lot of lifestyle coaching, that was taking so much time up. And I'm like, okay, like, so the GI map was kind of a shortcut to get some stuff through where they could do less lifestyle. But now I'm kind of like feeling like they need to be doing more lifestyle than I'm able to do. And I'm kind of like, yeah, in that crux.
Yeah, so this happens. It doesn't, I think there's a point where people learn about functional medicine, they learn a lot of the aspects of it, but then they don't really understand how to put it together into a package. And it gets to be overwhelming. And then patients pick up on that, also. So what I've tried to do with the mentorship class is just have a really clear clinical model. It's adrenals, GI, organic acids. That's it. In what order? Adrenals, GI, organic acids. And which order do you treat? Adrenals, GI, organic acids. So it's like all systematized and protocol driven. And then what happens, I think, if you learn that first, then of course every patient is unique and a snowflake, and you have to change things up. But you have a really clear model and protocols that you're going to use if you can. And then the variation is when you have to, versus trying to recreate a new model with every single patient. That's crazy making, right? And anyway, so welcome. That's great because we provide, and it's interesting too. So we have osteopaths, medical doctors, chiropractors. You're going to join a group, whatever call time you're in. They're going to be acupuncturists, nutritionists. It's a pretty wide range of different licensing backgrounds, and that makes for a really rich environment with the classes because everyone's kind of keyed in on learning the same thing, but the varied backgrounds really helps a lot, I think. All right, let's grab Emily. Emily, are you there?
Me?
Emily, yes. Hi, Emily.
Hey, I'm a chiropractor. I used
Mhm.
to have a clinic in New York for 13 years that COVID kind of killed. So I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and just trying to like restart. So I have a program helping women with Hashimoto's learn how to work out
Mhm.
with strength training. And I found that a lot of women wanted weight loss. They were doing the workouts, they were kind of doing calories and macros, but they weren't losing weight, even if thyroid labs are optimized. So just kind of wanting to learn more about metabolism from that functional medicine aspect to
Mhm.
jumpstart that process. And I see a lot of women with Hashimoto's with a focus also on mold exposure.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we had, this is not at all part of the curriculum, not even a little bit, but in the advanced clinical rounds call, we've had at least two sessions of an hour each that were all about mold and mold testing and mold treatments. So if you look at, when you log into the resources section, if you look at the clinical rounds call, 8 a.m. Tuesday, that's the advanced group, okay, 8 a.m. Tuesday, and just listen, kind of scan forward 10 minutes on the last maybe 5 or 6 talks. You'll find a couple that were pretty good about mold because there's 2 or 3 doctors in that group that are mold experts. And it came up and someone asked a question. I was like, okay, you guys just go at it. And all the protocols are listed out, all the best lab testing, it's all there. When you're ready for that. I'm kind of
Yeah.
anti-mold. I'm an anti-mold person because I think if you guys get good at treating mold, you're just in for a world of personal pain and suffering. So,
Yeah.
but some of you want to do it, so we try to have resources for that too. But we
Yeah.
want to keep you all. I think one of the main, let's say 9 out of 10 of you, not all of you, but 9 out of 10 of you are really going to be ultimately the happiest with a simple practice that is not based on the sickest people on the planet. 1 or 2 out of 10 of you will only be happy if you get the hardest cases imaginable. But what happens in functional medicine all the time with almost everyone is as you get good at doing this work, you're going to get harder and harder cases. And as that escalates, your quality of life goes down more and more and more, unless you're one of those 10% that just loves that kind of work. So really try to emphasize simple, like we just had a conversation with the niche. Oh, the niche we were talking about an hour ago was breast health. just working with women on breast cancer prevention. What a great niche. That's a great niche, super simple. In fact, you could have a practice which is 100% super healthy women that just don't want to get breast cancer when they get older. And so that allows, so there's just all kinds of options out there for how you guys structure your practices. And just because all the old functional medicine doctors work with chronic illness doesn't mean you guys have to, or really, it can really suck the life out of you if you're not really ready for that. So just something to think about. Hashimoto's is a great niche, by the way. Yeah, that's a great niche. Okay, let's grab Dr. Chodo Cruz. You there? You've joined the class. This is our Coaster Weekend colleague. How are you doing? Oh, see, you're still muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, here I am. How
Oh,
are
there you are.
you? Great
Good
to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. So yes, I'm a medical doctor from Costa Rica. This is where I practice. And after doing my medical doctor degree many years ago, I moved to Oregon and I did the naturopathic doctor degree at NCNM. So that was a while ago. And I moved back to Costa Rica in 2009 and have been in practice ever since. I'm also I'm the represent Designs for Health in Costa Rica as well.
Right.
So that's why we've had trainings with Dr. Kalish from our community of doctors. So the importance for me, I have been doing hormones and I have been doing GI maps and lots of GI health. But organic acids is something that I cannot still understand. I feel that's, a need that I have now that we have all those tests available in our country now. And because I work with supplements so much, there's a lot of, of education that we like to do to our doctors as well. Dr. Kalish has been helping us with that through time. So
Yeah.
that is the reason I'm here. I am really excited to be part of this group. And I'm looking forward to learning from all of you.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, I was just going to give a plug for organic acids. So historically in functional medicine, organic acids were saved for patients that you couldn't really help. Like you're doing everything, lifestyle and your microbiome, and they're not getting better. So then you just start to test them for organic acids. And the test itself is very intimidating. It's overwhelming. It takes, a couple of years to really understand it. And what I did about 15 years ago is I just started to test everybody with organic acids. And within a few months, I realized that it's not just the really sick people that you're trying to problem solve that you can't fix that need it. Everybody has cells. Everybody potentially could have oxidative stress, could have a problem with their mitochondria. Probably half the people that you guys are going to test have a problem with their brain, and you're going to see that on organic acids. You're going to see, serotonin or dopamine metabolites being all screwed up, or you're going to see neuroinflammation, which is pretty important. But just for the mitochondrial function, liver detoxification capacity, neurotransmitter health, I mean, it's a pretty important test. We have some breakthrough cases that we get in class on a regular basis just to do with B vitamin markers that show up. So the second 6 months of the mentorship is oriented towards organic acids. It's really, and that in a sense is really just an introduction to the work. But once you get confident with organic acids, it just opens up this whole other world of potential treatments. And so I definitely encourage you guys to test everybody that you can get your hands on, run an organic acids test, not just on the really tough patients, Okay, thank you, Dr. Chodo Cruz. And Jillian, are you there?
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm a nurse practitioner in Maryland, and by happenstance, almost, I started a clinical practice about 2 years ago that was focused on hormonal wellness, and did my education there and thought that was going to be what I did. And then wow, most patients need a lot more than that. So now, kind of trying to learn by fire the GI stuff and did the IFM training, and same kind of experience there. And now trying to figure out where I want to take my practice, what I want to focus on. What you said really resonated with me as far as, you know, I am not the 1% of wanting the hardest cases. I love to really make change with patients and feel that that joy with them instead of that frustration. So yeah, trying to solve the problem of kind of how to streamline things so I can help more people, because right now, you know, it's very time consuming, and so hoping that this will help and feel more confident in my clinical protocols and practice.
Yeah, I think the scalability is really important, you know? And so when you're doing a completely different set of labs and protocols for every single patient, you can't really scale that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, it'll
not
take
even a
me
little
2
bit.
hours to make a care plan for a patient, and you know, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
And if you can't scale it, it means you can't really make any money from doing it. And then what ends up happening is pretty predictable. Then doctors just work more. They don't give up. They just work more. You know, they work 60, 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, whatever it takes, and they just keep working, and but the money's just not coming in, and then they burn out. So
Yeah.
if you can go for a lighter weight patient base and not the super chronically ill, but people that are relatively easy to, you know, fix in 6 or 12 months, and then you can scale it because you're doing the same 3 tests on everybody, and maybe you're working with 40 or 50 different supplements, but not hundreds of them, then when someone, I mean, first of all, most of those people are going to get better. And then the ones that don't kind of stand out. And those are the ones that you can either refer or that you can do the more complex workups with. But I think what happens in conventional medicine in a primary care practice is people get referred out.
Right.
You're not going to like do a foot surgery if you're a primary care doctor, and you're probably not even going to do a complicated neurological exam. You have a neurology person, you have orthopedics, you just send people out. And so my vision for functional medicine for most of you is that you're super comfortable referring people out. And that if you get a complicated case like mold, you know the mold specialist, or you get a Lyme patient, you send them to the Lyme expert. So you all don't have to be experts in all these things. You can just be really, really good at the fundamentals. And that you can scale, have a really comfortable income, relatively low stress. And for the 1 out of 10 of you that want to specialize in mold or Lyme or heavy metals, you know, you can be a support to the other folks that don't really want to do that. But I'm glad to hear that resonates with you, because I wish someone had told me this 20, 30 years ago, you know. I was a Parkinson's specialist for a while, believe it or not, because I fixed this one Parkinson's guy, and then all these Parkinson's patients came in. That was the worst part of my career. I did pretty severe depression for a while because I got good at treating depression. That was a dark period of my career. So you know, one of my best friends, you know, became an autism specialist, and he got caught up now. It's been almost 25 years just working with autistic kids. It's not what he wanted to do with his life. So we want you guys to be agents of your own creation here and not just fall into something, but choose whatever it is that you really want to do that's gonna, you know, be rewarding to you. So you can do it for a long time, right? Okay, I think that's a super important thing. We talk about that a lot. All right, so thank you. And let's see, there's a couple people I can see here. We don't have cameras for, but I'm gonna grab like Sarah Goldberg. Can you hear me there, Sarah?
Yeah, sorry, my son just got home. He's 1, so I didn't know if he was gonna come running down.
Oh,
I had my
okay.
camera off. So I'm the acupuncturist in the group so far. I was like, yeah, I'm here. I actually I went to the school in Berkeley, so I lived pretty close to, I think, where your office is or was. And yeah, I just got certified like a year and a half ago. And then I had my son. So I actually haven't been practicing that long. But I did do the IFM course. And I finished my doctorate in acupuncture, and I'm also doing a sports medicine acupuncture certification down in San Diego. Yeah, but for me, I just feel like with school, the lab piece was really missing. And, you know, we have Chinese medicine, but I just feel like treating patients correctly, you need so much more than that. My thesis was in integrative approach for treating Alzheimer's. So yeah, I just feel like for me, like sports medicine is a focus, but also working to prevent Alzheimer's. And it's in my family, like it's very profound. So I feel like this is the right place for me. And again, I think the sentiment with the IFM course, it's such a vast overview, but it's really missing, how to treat patients and the protocols and the labs. And yeah, this seems like a good answer to the problem.
Excellent. All right. Well, welcome. Very good to have you. And you will be joined. There's a bunch of acupuncturists, whatever time slot
Okay,
you
great.
want, you'll feel comfortable with that group. All right. So let's grab Leanne. Can Leanne hear me there? I don't know. I don't see Leanne's mic on. So Leanne might not have a mic. So I'm not sure what to do about that. But we'll let Leanne go for a minute. And we have Dr. Ryan. Are you there, Dr. Ryan? And then we have, again, some of these people may not be able to talk based on their circumstances, like they may be in a driving or something. And then see David Lozano. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, doctor.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Well, I live in Dominican Republic. I studied computer science and then medicine, but I was not practicing because I started some IT companies. But in 2020, I had some health issues, so I knew the functional medicine, and it helped me a lot. But also, some bad practitioners recommend me to have a low carb diet with low amounts of salt. So I end up with having adrenal fatigue. And that's when I discovered that the functional medicine practitioners in the world, because I visit like 5 countries and more than 30 practitioners, don't know very well what is adrenal fatigue. Even I visiting endocrinologists and some of these practitioners, they said that no, you have diabetes, you have stress, you have anxiety, and well, I end up doing some in Latin America, in Colombia. I did some Genova tests, but they didn't even know how to interpret those tests. So that's why researching, I found your institute and read your book, very nice book. So I started 2 certification with you. I'm finishing one this upcoming Thursday, the female hormones.
Oh, right.
And yeah, my idea is to start a functional medicine center because even the functional medicine practitioners, as I mentioned, don't know a lot of things about, they don't know what organic acids are or renal fatigue are. So that's incredible. And my idea is to contribute here in the Dominican Republic, starting that center. That's my
Excellent.
dreams. Yeah.
Well, it's so exciting to see the international aspect of this. So we have Pakistan, new doctor. He's not on the call right now, but he's in your group with you guys. We have Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Middle East covered. We've got a new doctor that just started that's from Dubai. She's not on the call right now, but she just started this session. I'm a couple from Canada. Does that count? Canada is a different country. It kind of counts. Spain, someone that's in Spain. So anyways, the movement is really spreading internationally, and it's very exciting for me to see that. And I think a lot of you are, going to end up being pioneers in your own country to be one of the first, or, the first really sort of properly trained functional medicine practitioner. And I know that if the problem is pretty big in the United States, that a lot of people are calling themselves functional medicine doctors, but don't have any background in the lab interpretation, I think they're really, it's sort of a disservice. That's lifestyle medicine in and of itself is fine, but I think really what my agenda is to push forward the lab-based and the science aspect of this work is so profound that I think once you guys get more into it, you feel like you have to be doing that, or you're not really doing the patient a service if you don't know how to interpret these tests. So I'm gonna welcome you and to see Dr. Ryan, I can see now. Ryan, you there?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've done a couple boot camps with you. I've been a patient of yours. I used to live across the street from your practice in San Francisco. That's how I first heard of you long time ago, like late, I don't know, 2008 or 9 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been practicing functional medicine for the past 4 years. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and I completed my doctoral of Eastern medicine as well. I've done the IFM program and Kresser's program as well, and some Apex stuff. So I just like learning, and I especially am looking forward to the organic acids section. And I was really excited that that's like half the course. I think organic acids are fascinating, and I always want to know all the little nuances and secrets and tips and tricks that you've dropped a few of through some of the boot camps, and I'm sure there's a lot more where that's coming from.
All right, excellent. Well, welcome, Ryan. Yeah, and it's funny if it keeps bringing up organic acids. Let me just show you guys a little bit about what we've actually got here, so you can see. So the fundamentals often work, which is lifestyle plus adrenal and GI testing, and a lot of people respond to that. But with the advent of long COVID, things really did change quite a bit. And so when you look at the curriculum, you'll see the whole second half is all organic acids. That's pretty obvious. But I just want to show you a little bit more on the resources side here, what we have. So this is the resource section, which you guys all have access to now, the resource library. And you'll see in the beginning here, it says quick fix protocols. It's just what it sounds like, because it's hard to remember like what's the stage 2 protocol for the adrenals. It's all right there. So you don't have to hunt around in the regular curriculum to find all these. And if I'm missing one, let me know, but I think most of them are here. So all the protocols are up front, because that's usually what people want to get to first. And then we have some patient communication information, because that's also a pretty hot topic there. And these are all just bonus materials. It's not really part of the regular curriculum. Supplement program design, that's a big topic too. So I have a whole bunch of extra lectures on that. Lab resources, business topics, patient education documents. If you need documents for your practice, we have all those laid out here. These are all the ones that I use. And then there's some bonus lectures here. So bonus lectures on organic acids right there. And then I just put these in recently. This is Richard Lord. Anywhere you see Richard Lord in organic acids. So he's the scientist that in late 1960s conceptualized of doing organic acids testing in integrative and functional medicine. And so he was a graduate student at UT Austin, and they were doing organic acids testing in those days for newborn babies to look for, these rare genetic disorders. But he was interested in nutrition, and he realized as a young man who's maybe in his mid-20s while he's getting his PhD, that you could combine these things. You could take organic acids tests that were used for rare genetic disorders in babies and apply them to an adult population. Pretty far ahead of his time. In the 70s and 80s, he teamed up with Andy Browley, and they started to run these organic acids tests in the beginning for the integrative medicine community. And he retired maybe 15 years ago, maybe longer. And he and I have been working together for 14 years now. So all the materials that I talk about on organic acids are what Richard Lord has taught me, who is the scientist that first developed this work. And it's pretty profound. So I've got a few of his lectures in here, not to kind of intimidate or freak you out, because he's really pretty sophisticated with his approach to organic acids. And I'm sort of the messenger. I'm trying to spread the word of Richard Lord. And then we still apparently have this in here, all these ion panels. So these are all straight up organic acids, fatty acids, and amino acids. A little more advanced, but it's all in there. For those of you that like to geek out on the science stuff, there's a lot of extra materials like that in here, okay? And then you'll see these case studies, tons of case studies, some more bonus material. And then at the end of this section, you'll see the Q&A recordings. So this is the advanced call. You can listen to any of these that you want. These are all pre-recorded. You'll then, some of you are gonna be in the Tuesday morning. Oh my gosh, look how many there are. That's insane. Okay, some of you are gonna be in the Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. call. So all the recordings are right here for that call going back to 2023. So a lot of them. But this is priceless. Each one of these contains multiple cases. Some of you be in Tuesday, 5 p.m. Your call will be posted there. And then the last group here is the Wednesday at 9 a.m. group, okay? So anyways, it's all posted there. And if you miss a call here or there, you can catch up. If you want to just listen to some of the older recordings, you can look at those as well. And have, oh, wait a minute, I didn't share my screen. You guys didn't see that, did you? Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm so used to GoToWebinar. Hang on a second, let me go back here. There we go. Hang on a second. Now tell me if you see it now. Here, did that
Yes,
pop up
we see
now?
it.
Okay, let me go through that whole thing again. Sorry, you guys.
Sorry, I was going to say something, but I figured it was that I didn't understand Zoom.
No, I don't understand Zoom. That's the
I
problem.
never figured it
Quick,
out.
you have to reshare every time, right? GoToWebinar does it for you. So quick fix protocols, here we go, right? Oh my God. And so that's, if you just like, I can't remember what he said for H. pylori, just, it's like a 2-minute video, boom, right there, you can do it. And did I make these things up? No, I didn't make any of this stuff up. This is all straight out of the Dr. Timmons and Dr. Richard Lord playbook. This is like the classic functional medicine treatment protocols. They've been around, some of these programs have been around since the 60s or 70s. You guys would be the third generation of doctors to learn this stuff. So I learned it from Timmons and Richard Lord. They developed this stuff in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I learned it in the 90s. Now you're learning it. There's absolutely nothing new here. This is classic. The science hasn't, the basic physiology is the same. Patient communication stuff, okay? But I wanted to show you the extra lab resources, business topics. There's more in here than you probably want to listen to. But just scroll around and see. Like if you're interested in organic acids, there's bonus lectures on organic acids. So you can listen to that part. If you're interested in Richard Lord and the advanced science, then listen to these. It'll just blow your mind. So I really tried to provide a wide range of things. The ion panel, again, is deep, advanced organic acids, if you guys get into that. And then the live calls here. The 8 a.m. call is the advanced group on Tuesdays. And then each of you will be either in the 9 a.m. Tuesday or 5 p.m. Tuesday or 9 a.m. Wednesday call. And so they're all posted here. And each week I'll point out like the really good calls. So like, I still remember this last Wednesday's call, whatever date that was, we had like at 5 p.m., we had like the best adrenal class ever. So like, let's find that one. I'll show you. And I'll always point this out every week in your call. So I'll say, oh my gosh, you guys, you got to all listen to the Wednesday at 5 p.m. from last week because that was the best adrenal one ever. No, it was Wednesday. No, it's Tuesday at 5 p.m. So one of these ones right in here. But every week I'll just point out, okay, this was the greatest one. You should listen to this. So you kind of have a way to, filter through all this information because it's a huge amount of information here. If you have some extra time, I think scrolling through all this material, picking out things that are of interest, maybe every week or two, you listen to an extra live call. That'll get you going in a really positive way. And there's some things in here like this 40 female hormone case studies, that little thing there. When you click on that, it opens up, I'm not kidding, these are 40 cases of the month-long female hormone panel. So if you're interested in fertility workups and stuff like that, I don't know how long, it would take you probably weeks to just listen to this one little section I have tucked in here, okay? And if there's things that are missing, let me know because I have so much material. It's just, we don't want to overwhelm you guys with too much stuff. Here's the Mayo Clinic study. Look at that. So speaking of Mayo Clinic, this is a study I did with Sue Cutshall, Larry Bergstrom from Mayo, and looking at adrenal and GI cases. It's kind of fun. We got this published. And this is the exact same protocols that we do in the class, by the way, we do using that study. Anyways, there's a ton of material in here you can poke around and get access to. But the short-term goal is really to get you oriented towards the lectures, getting you guys started with the live Q&A calls, starting to submit labs, and reducing your overwhelm so that it's not too bad. And if you're in a total overwhelm mode, just email training@Kalish Institute. If you're completely freaking out, you can schedule a call with me. If it's a mild freak out, like you can't find your password, then my staff can handle it. But you know, we're here basically as a resource to make sure you guys are successful. That's really the goal for the next year. And I can't think of anything else. You guys, I will talk to each of you in the coming days as we join the class, okay? And I'm super excited. Great group we have here, and I'm looking forward to working with you. All right, take care, everyone. Goodbye for now.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah.